Homestead artists up for another power hour. If you don't know about the power hour challenge, that is a 1 hour challenge to get some things happening in your garden and get the produce growing for this season. We're in spring here in Melbourne, Victoria, and it is time to get a lot going for the garden, but it's also spring is the time where the weeds take off, and I have got a lot of weedy patches, and one particular patch that I need to clean up that has been calling my name for a long time and I've put off is my youngberry patch, where the youngberries have kind of jumped their position into a new position, but I'm going to keep them, I'm going to train them, clean up the area under them, save some plants that are still growing under there and make that whole spot a lot different. So that's what we're going to do in our next power hour, and as a bonus for this video I'm going to throw in an extra hour recap of what gets done in the second hour so you can see the end result. Alright, let's go. Let's get motivated in the garden. Now I'll talk about this berry and its habits in a minute, but for now I just want to show you some old footage of where it was originally planted. So we had this wire cage that was supposed to be a chicken pen and ended up over the garden in an early bed. So this is year one as things were starting to get going. I had a handful of berries from it the first year. The second year, you're seeing the footage of the berries, well, forming on it. The second year we had quite a lot. It was a very generous plant, and the problem was it had a bit of a downtime off where the support it was on as we moved, and some pieces rooted next to it and started to move. When these plants grow tall and bend over, touch the ground, they'll root, which is what happened. It rooted behind where I planted it, right next to the greenhouse, and started to grow inside the greenhouse. So it created quite a bit of a mess. But we're going to clean up. I've partly cleaned it up, but I'm going to finish cleaning up that mess and still have it just outside the greenhouse, but train it and watch it doesn't happen again and see how we go. So this part's going to be very quick because, as it turned out, the neighbour had all the machinery going. I was secretly hoping he would cut those trees down that shades out my garden, but no joy. So in our hour, I moved the border back further to widen up the path area and weeded all that area. We saved some strawberries and I moved some along the very edge of it. I found some perpetual spinach seedlings and replanted those. I cleaned all the way around the corner out near the comfrey, and there's the cannas, and we got that pretty much clear. Now I also dug out a canna to plant up, and I moved the box. The box was right inside that bed, and I had tried to grow the youngberries in it, but I just couldn't keep the water up to it. So I've put them aside to put some strawberries in, and I'm going to put a watering system in that. You'll see that a bit later. So surprise, surprise, that perpetual spinach I didn't realise was in there. There was some on the outside, but I found more than I thought was surviving under the original foliage, which this is the time most things had died back. I'd had a crack at cleaning that up a little bit, but hadn't done much. But it was so good to get that weeded. Now ideally I would have a bag of mulch with me to mulch immediately after and water that in. I did water it in, but I didn't have any mulch. But a couple of days later I bought some more and covered that. To give you a rundown of this berry, the youngberry is a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry. It's thornless, so which is lovely, and it is meant to clump up, not run like raspberries or wild blackberries do. So like the thornless blackberry, it grows in a clump, so making it easier. However, if you do what I did and let it get too tall, bend over, touch the ground, it will grow wherever it touches the ground. Now, I had been using a synthetic cord that was given to me, but found that it deteriorates and you get these little fibres in the ground. Look at all the fibres coming out there when you cut it, but they do deteriorate. So I'm removing those and replacing it with natural strings. Now, each piece of the vine I pulled out in order. It was like untangling wool, and then I put them in order if it would reach the top run, and then I cut them just above the node that was sticking above it to try and keep them down to a certain size, and I will monitor that this time. Last time I was just scared of losing berries and I wanted to let it grow, but this time I know better. So this berry grows on the new growth, and all of this is new growth, so it will throw out side shoots now that I've trimmed the top, and we should have berries in very short time. So because I've trained them on a very unusual angle, they might be good for growing lettuce in when it gets really hot in the summer. There was also one that had rooted on the very corner of where that black pole is, and that is also where my grape is, which I've just grafted, but I'm letting it grow up there on that corner, and I'm going to just keep an eye on it. So I have trained that up to the point of where the grape starts and trimmed it there. So we've got another one there on the corner growing pretty much straight up, and it's got comfrey growing at its feet along with the canna. So the first hour was the weeding, and the second hour I did the training. I replanted the strawberries into the box and fixed that up with some water and dealt with the mess and put everything away and potted up that pot you saw earlier. Dealt with the plants that pulled out in that second hour. That is pretty much 2 power hours you're seeing in one video, but it just goes to show how much you can get done in an hour, just a single person. And yeah, I'm relieved that that's done, because that was really needing to be done before those vines took off again. So if that's encouraged you to do a power hour yourself, you might want to check out the Power Hour Gardening Challenge playlist and see all the different jobs that I'm doing and will continue to do. I know that this challenge has really helped me do so much more in the garden. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.